Hello everyone, and welcome to Chill English Channel. I'm Sophia, and I'm very happy that you are spending this time with us today.
And I'm Jake. Wherever you are listening, from your bedroom, your car, a quiet park, or a busy train, we hope you can relax and enjoy this English conversation.
Today we are talking about a difficult but important subject, toxic people.
We will explore what toxic behavior can look like, how it may affect us, and how we can protect our peace in a calm and respectful way.
This conversation is designed for B1 to B2 English learners, so we will explain useful words and expressions through clear, natural examples.
You do not need to understand every word perfectly. Listen for the main ideas and notice how we talk about relationships, feelings, and personal boundaries.
Before we begin, we should explain that the word toxic is very strong.
Yes, we should not use it simply because someone disagrees with us, has a bad day, or makes one mistake.
Everyone can behave badly sometimes. A person may be tired, stressed, worried, or upset.
Toxic behavior is usually a repeated pattern that regularly leaves other people feeling hurt, controlled, confused, or emotionally exhausted.
That word pattern is important. A pattern is something that happens again and again.
So, today, we are discussing repeated unhealthy behavior, not judging someone because of one uncomfortable moment.
Here is a question to think about while you listen. How do you usually feel after spending time with the people in your life?
Do you feel respected, safe, and supported? Or do you often feel nervous, guilty, and tired?
Our feelings do not explain everything, but they can give us useful information.
Sophia, when you hear the phrase toxic person, what kind of behavior comes to mind first?
I think of someone who constantly creates drama and makes every situation feel more difficult than it needs to be.
Can you give us an example?
Imagine that you share some good news with a friend. You tell her that you got a new job, completed a course, or achieved a personal goal.
A supportive friend would probably congratulate you.
Exactly, but a toxic person might immediately criticize the achievement or make it about herself.
She might say, "That job doesn't sound very impressive," or "I could have done that too."
Yes, instead of feeling happy for you, she tries to make your success feel small.
Could that reaction come from jealousy?
It could. Jealousy is the uncomfortable feeling someone may have when another person has something they want.
We all feel jealous occasionally, but the important question is how we manage that feeling.
Right. A healthy person can notice jealousy without using it to hurt someone else.
Another common sign is constant negativity. Some people find a problem in almost every situation.
We all need to complain sometimes. Talking about a difficult day can help us feel understood. But if every conversation becomes a long list of complaints, the listener may begin to feel emotionally drained.
Drained is a useful word. If you feel drained, you have very little energy left.
I once knew someone who called me regularly, but he never asked how I was doing.
What did he talk about?
His problems, his coworkers, his neighbors, the weather, and even the way people walked too slowly in front of him.
It sounded as though the entire world was disappointing him.
Apparently, yes. At first, I tried to be a patient listener, but our conversations became very one-sided. A one-sided relationship is one in which one person gives much more time, attention, or support than the other.
Exactly. I listened to him for an hour, but if I talked about my own life for 2 minutes, he quickly changed the subject.
How did you feel after those conversations?
Tired and strangely heavy. I also felt guilty when I didn't answer his calls.
Guilt can be another sign to notice, especially when someone uses it to control your choices.
That kind of behavior is sometimes called guilt tripping.
Guilt tripping means making someone feel guilty so that they will do what you want.
For example, a friend might say, "If you really cared about me, you would cancel your plans and come here."
That sentence does not directly ask for help. It questions your love or loyalty to create pressure.
A healthier request would be, "I'm having a difficult day. Are you free to talk?
Exactly. That gives the other person space to answer honestly.
Have you ever experienced guilt tripping, Sophia?
Yes. Years ago, I had a friend who became upset whenever I spent time with other people.
What would she say?
She would say things like, "I see you have better friends now," even when I had spent the previous weekend with her.
Did you try to reassure her?
Constantly. I explained that I cared about her, but nothing seemed to be enough.
That must have felt exhausting.
It did. I slowly realized that I was changing my plans to avoid her reactions, not because I genuinely wanted to.
That is an important difference. Compromise is normal in relationships, but fear should not control every decision.
Another unhealthy behavior is refusing to take responsibility for mistakes.
Some people always find another person to blame.
If they forget an appointment, they say you did not remind them. If they speak rudely, they say you made them angry.
And if they hurt your feelings, they may say you were too sensitive.
That response moves attention away from their behavior and makes you question your own reaction.
There's a useful expression for this: to shift the blame.
It means placing responsibility on someone else instead of accepting your own part in a problem.
Healthy people make mistakes too, but they can usually say, "I was wrong," or "I'm sorry that I hurt you."
A real apology does not include a long explanation about why everything was secretly your fault.
Yes, "I'm sorry, but you made me do it," is not a very convincing apology.
Toxic behavior can also appear as constant criticism, especially when the criticism is personal rather than helpful.
Helpful feedback focuses on a specific action and gives you a chance to improve.
For example, a coworker might say, "This report needs more detail in the final section."
But a personal attack would sound like, "You never do anything properly."
Words like always and never can make a small problem feel like a judgment of your entire character.
And when you hear those judgments repeatedly, you may begin to doubt your abilities.
That is why it is useful to pay attention not only to what someone says, but also to the pattern and its effect on you.
A respectful relationship can include disagreement, honesty, and difficult conversations, but it should not regularly make you feel worthless, controlled, or afraid to be yourself.
That last point is especially important because toxic behavior is not always loud or obvious.
Sometimes it appears through small comments, silent treatment, or actions that slowly reduce your confidence.
Let's talk about the silent treatment. What does that expression mean?
The silent treatment happens when someone deliberately stops communicating to punish or control another person.
This is different from taking a healthy break during an argument.
Yes, a healthy person might say, "I'm too upset to talk clearly right now. Can we continue this conversation in an hour?"
That person explains what they need and promises to return to the conversation.
With the silent treatment, there is often no explanation. The other person ignores your calls, messages, or questions and leaves you feeling anxious.
You may begin apologizing even when you do not understand what you did wrong.
And that confusion can give the other person a sense of control.
Have you ever received the silent treatment, Jake?
Yes, in a former friendship. If I disagreed with my friend, he sometimes stopped speaking to me for several days.
Did you know why he was upset?
Not always. I would read our old messages repeatedly and search for a mistake.
That sounds stressful.
It was. Eventually, he would return and behave as if nothing had happened.
Did you try to discuss it with him?
I did, but he said I was creating unnecessary drama.
That is interesting because he avoided the conversation and then blamed you for wanting to solve the problem.
Exactly. Over time, I became afraid to disagree with him, even about small things.
That shows how repeated behavior can change the way we act. We may start walking on eggshells.
Walking on eggshells is a useful expression. It means behaving very carefully because you are afraid that someone will become angry or upset.
For example, you might avoid certain subjects or carefully examine every word before you speak.
A relationship should not make you feel as though one ordinary sentence could cause a disaster.
Another toxic pattern is manipulation. Manipulation means controlling someone indirectly, often in an unfair or dishonest way.
A manipulative person may change facts, hide information, or use your emotions against you.
For example, they may deny saying something that you clearly remember.
They might say, "I never said that. You always imagine things."
If this happens repeatedly, you may begin to question your own memory and judgment.
This kind of behavior is often called gaslighting, although we should use that term carefully.
Yes, forgetting a detail or remembering an event differently is not automatically gaslighting.
Gaslighting is a repeated attempt to make someone doubt their understanding of reality.
One helpful response is to write down important events or keep messages when a situation is serious.
Not because you need to build a case against everyone, but because clear information can help you trust your memory.
It can also help to speak with someone reliable who is outside the situation.
A trusted friend may notice a pattern that is difficult for you to see when you are emotionally involved.
Toxic behavior can happen in romantic relationships, friendships, families, and workplaces.
Workplace situations can be especially challenging because you may not be able to avoid the person completely.
Imagine a coworker who takes credit for your ideas but blames you whenever something goes wrong.
Or a manager who criticizes you in front of everyone but never gives clear instructions.
In a situation like that, emotional reactions may not solve the problem.
It can be more helpful to stay professional and document important conversations.
To document something means to create a clear written record of it.
For example, after a meeting, you might send a polite email saying, "To confirm our discussion, I will complete the report by Friday."
That creates clarity about what was agreed.
It also makes it more difficult for someone to change the story later.
But what can we do in personal relationships when we notice an unhealthy pattern?
A good first step is to set a boundary.
A boundary is a limit that protects your time, energy, safety, or emotional well-being.
Some people believe that setting a boundary means controlling someone else.
But a boundary usually explains what you will do in a certain situation.
For example, if you shout at me, I will end the conversation, and we can try again when we are both calm.
You are not saying, "You are not allowed to feel angry." You are explaining what behavior you will accept during a conversation.
Another example is, I cannot answer personal calls while I am working, but I can speak after 6.
Healthy people may feel disappointed by a boundary, but they can still respect it.
A toxic person may laugh at it, ignore it, or accuse you of being selfish.
That reaction can reveal a lot. People who benefited from your lack of boundaries may dislike your new limits.
Setting a boundary can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to pleasing everyone.
A people pleaser is someone who tries very hard to keep others happy, often while ignoring their own needs.
Were you ever a people pleaser, Sophia?
Definitely. I used to say yes immediately, even when I wanted to say no.
Why was saying no so difficult?
I wanted people to think I was kind and helpful. I was afraid a refusal would make me seem rude.
What helped you change?
I learned to pause before answering. Instead of agreeing immediately, I started saying, "Let me check my schedule and get back to you."
That gives you time to make a real decision instead of responding from fear.
Exactly. I also learned that "no, I'm not available" can be a complete and respectful answer.
You do not always need to provide a 10-minute explanation with charts and supporting documents.
I used to give so many excuses that I sounded as though I were speaking in court.
Long explanations can sometimes invite the other person to argue with every reason.
If you say you are tired, they may tell you to drink coffee. If you say you are busy, they may suggest changing your plans.
A short, calm answer is often clearer. I can't do that today.
Of course, boundaries only become meaningful when we follow them consistently.
If you say you will leave whenever someone insults you, but you always stay, the other person may learn that your words have no effect.
Following a boundary is not about revenge. It is about protecting yourself and showing what respectful interaction requires.
And sometimes protection means reducing contact with someone even if you still care about them.
Reducing contact can be a difficult decision, especially when the person has been part of your life for a long time.
You may care about them and still recognize that the relationship is harming your well-being.
Some people choose low contact, which means communicating less often and sharing less personal information.
Others may choose no contact, meaning they completely stop communicating with the person.
That is a serious decision, particularly when family, shared responsibilities, or safety concerns are involved.
In complex situations, support from a qualified counselor or another trusted professional can be very helpful.
It is also important to remember that protecting yourself does not always require a dramatic announcement.
Sometimes you can quietly become less available, stop participating in arguments, and focus your energy elsewhere.
This reminds me of the expression, "don't feed the drama."
It means that you do not give unnecessary attention or emotional energy to conflict.
For example, a toxic person may send a rude message because they want an angry response.
If you immediately reply with another insult, the argument will probably grow.
A calmer response might be, "I'm willing to discuss this when we can speak respectfully."
Then you can stop replying until the conversation becomes respectful.
That sounds simple, but staying calm can be difficult when someone knows exactly how to upset you.
Yes, some people know your sensitive areas because you once trusted them with personal information.
They may bring up old mistakes, private fears, or painful memories during an argument.
In that moment, it can help to pause before responding.
You can take a breath, leave the room, or wait before answering a message.
A pause gives you time to choose your response instead of reacting automatically.
Another helpful idea is to avoid trying to win every argument.
Especially when the other person is not interested in understanding you.
You can explain yourself clearly, but you cannot force someone to listen honestly.
Sometimes protecting your peace is more valuable than proving that you are right.
I used to believe that if I found the perfect words, every misunderstanding could be solved.
Did that belief cause problems?
Yes, I repeated myself in 10 different ways, hoping the other person would finally understand.
And did they?
Usually not. Sometimes they understood perfectly. They simply did not want to accept my answer.
That is an important realization. A communication problem cannot always be fixed by communicating more.
Exactly. If someone repeatedly ignores your meaning, another hour of explanation may only exhaust you.
We should also talk about self-reflection because it's easy to notice toxic behavior in others and ignore our own behavior.
That is very true. We all have moments when we become defensive, jealous, controlling, or unfair.
The question is whether we can recognize those moments, take responsibility, and try to change.
A person is not automatically toxic because they make a mistake or react badly once.
Healthy relationships include apologies, forgiveness, honest conversations, and opportunities for growth.
If several people give you similar feedback, it may be worth listening carefully.
For example, if different friends say that you often interrupt them, you can become curious instead of immediately rejecting the idea.
You might say, "I didn't realize I was doing that. I'll try to listen more carefully."
That response shows accountability.
Accountability means accepting responsibility for your actions and their effects.
It does not mean believing that everything is your fault.
Right. You can accept responsibility for your behavior without accepting blame for another person's choices.
That balance can take time to learn.
Now let's review some useful words and expressions from this episode.
The first word is toxic. In relationships, it describes a repeated pattern of harmful or unhealthy behavior.
Remember to use this word carefully. One disagreement or bad day does not automatically make someone toxic.
The next word is drained. If you feel drained, you feel emotionally or physically exhausted.
For example, I always feel drained after listening to his constant complaints.
We also learned guilt tripping, which means making someone feel guilty in order to influence their decision.
An example is, she tried to guilt trip me into canceling my other plans.
Another expression is shift the blame. This means moving responsibility from yourself to someone else.
For example, he made the mistake, but he tried to shift the blame onto his coworker.
We also discussed walking on eggshells.
This means behaving very carefully because you were afraid of upsetting someone.
You could say, I felt as though I was walking on eggshells whenever my manager was angry.
Another important word is boundary. A boundary is a limit that protects your time, energy, safety, or well-being.
For example, I set a boundary and told her that I would not continue conversations that included insults.
We also used manipulation, which means controlling someone indirectly or unfairly.
And finally, accountability means accepting responsibility for your behavior.
Try choosing 2 of these words and using them in your own sentences.
This will help you remember the vocabulary and connect it to real-life situations.
Before we finish, return to our opening question. How do you usually feel after spending time with the people in your life?
Healthy relationships are not perfect, but they generally allow you to feel respected, heard, and safe to be yourself.
If a relationship regularly leaves you feeling afraid, worthless, controlled, or deeply confused, consider speaking to someone you trust.
Asking for support is not a weakness. Sometimes another perspective helps us see a situation more clearly.
And if you recognize one of these unhealthy behaviors in yourself, do not use that realization as a reason to feel hopeless.
Awareness gives you an opportunity to apologize, learn healthier habits, and make different choices.
For today's English practice, complete this sentence. A healthy relationship should make you feel...
You might choose words such as respected, supported, comfortable, understood, or free.
Share your answer in the comments and tell us which expression from this episode was most useful for you.
Please protect your private information when commenting. You can practice the vocabulary without sharing personal details.
Thank you for listening to Chill English Channel and joining us for this honest conversation.
Keep learning, communicate with respect, and remember that kindness includes the way you treat yourself. We'll see you again soon.